Okay, so welcome to Introduction to AI. This is a very brief introduction. We'll talk about some of the things in AI, kind of thing at a high level. This will at least give you an idea of what is coming in the program. So today is day one, so we don't want it to be heavy. Uh, so let me go to my sorry, wrong Twitter. Okay, so what is AI, or do we really have AI? And I think many of you may already know, but I want to recap. There is really nothing called AI in the world. Like we call it AI, it seems like AI, but it is really not AI. What we have in the world is something called a large language model, right? And a large language model is the best way to put it, and since I'm not a mathematics person, the way I put it is it's a mathematical model which can guess what's the best sentence or best next word that it can produce based on the previous set of words which are out there. So it's a very good guesser, word guesser kind of thing. It has become good at guessing words because we have shown it all the text which has been published by mankind, and that's an exaggeration to some extent. I would say that most models like ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini have been trained on most published human documentation that exists in any form, whether it is a web page, whether it's a book, or whether it is code or whatever it is. It has been trained on large corpus of data and it has read it. So think about it, right? If when you were in school, you learned the alphabet, you learned how to make words out of those alphabets, CAT, cat, BAT, bat, because that's what you knew, right? Then as each grade you went up, you learned about more syntaxes, you could make more complex sentences, and then eventually you could write essays and all of those things, right? That's kind of your brain evolved as you were exposed to more things. In this case, we have exposed the AI to all the things that humankind has created in all the languages, almost all the languages, so that it has seen it all. And so it is very good at composing a sentence by looking at what it has already learned. Does not know that it is meaningful or not. So that's why it's not artificially intelligent, because it really does not know whether the sentence it produced is actually correct or not correct, right? It's just a correct semantically, it is correct grammatically, but it may not be correct in the real world scenario, right? And that's kind of what we hear in the world as hallucination, right? So LLMs hallucinate because it produced a seemingly correct sentence which is meaningless in the real world, right? That happens because it is good at guessing. Now, I don't know, the best way to demonstrate that is, I'm sure when you go to parties and you have your group of friends, and there is someone in the group who feels like they can talk about any subject, basically, right? Like they are in the party, they are kind of, oh, finance, I'm doing this kind of stock trading, or then suddenly they shift to technology, I'm doing that kind of thing. They will talk as long as somebody who is not a subject matter expert comes in and starts asking them question, and at that point of time they will shut up, right? And that's kind of what an LLM is, kind of thing. An LLM can talk about anything till someone who knows the subject can question them about it, kind of thing, right? Why? Because till somebody questions it, nobody knows whether it's right or wrong. It can exaggerate all it wants, right? If you want to read about this, I wrote an article on this on LinkedIn. It's called the Pheku effect. The word comes from India, Phenkna, basically. So it comes from there. So I wrote an article on LinkedIn about it. But that's what an LLM does. It guesses. It does not know whether it's right or wrong, kind of thing, right? So it is not intelligent from that matter, right? Now, how we ask an LLM to the questions that we need answers for, that is our way of asking, and that's what is prompt is, and that's prompt engineering, right? Now, how do you have prompts, you have LLMs, you have hallucinations. How do you prevent those from happening? You do something called grounding, which means that you provide information to the LLM so that it validates against it. You provide it a corpus of documentation so it does a search against it, a RAG, basically. So you'll hear about RAG, you'll hear about grounding. Those are things which control the output of the AI to be more meaningful than just guessing, kind of thing. So it improves the guesses a little bit better, right? The next thing we'll look at is automation. Now, lot of people confuse AI with automation, agents with automation. Automation has existed forever. Automation has existed for anytime you write a piece of code, it is automation. If you use software to repeat something automatically, it's automation. If you set up a schedule for something to happen, it is automation. In your home, if you set your temperature to go up to a certain degree every morning, that is automation. It is not AI, it is just automation, right? And most of the things that are happening today are automations. Very few things are actually agentic or AI. And it is important to understand what is an automation and what is an agent kind of thing, right? An automation means that somebody like a human being has set something to happen again and again, whereas an agent is something which has thought about what it needs to do and automated it itself, kind of thing, right? Like that's kind of where we go with agents versus automation. And a lot of people who work on AI do not understand the difference. They will say, okay, they are building agents, whereas they are building automation. A good engineer will say that, okay, this is just automation, right? And this is an agent. Okay. So automation may not require a brain. It requires a coded logic, a programmed logic, whereas agent may have autonomous judgment capabilities of figuring out what needs to be done. And that makes it an agentic automation. It is still an automation, but it is little age automation with a mind of its own kind of thing, right? With LLMs, we can have the knowledge that it has indexed with all the human knowledge. We can give it additional capabilities to do things, and those capabilities and things that it does are called tools. And today some tools communicate with each other using an MCP protocol. That's another way of saying tools, basically, which are things that we are giving the capability for an agent to do. For example, if I said that and when I ask an agent to tell me the weather, it actually calls an API which can get the weather and tell it the weather, basically. It is not coming from its own knowledge, so that it has a weather tool which allows it to do that, right? Now, how that tool is available is what determines if it's a tool or an MCP. Many times you can make the tool available locally to the LLM. It is called a tool. When you're using protocols like HTTP and other things using an MCP protocol, then it's MCP. And today there are other standards like A2A and other protocols which are available for communication too, kind of thing, right? Then you will hear a term called skills. So what is a skill? A skill is a bundle of a prompt, a set of tools, a set of automation which kind of achieves something, right? So that means that when you say that, okay, I need a skill which will actually browse the web, download an article from the internet, read that article, and then compose a summary, send me an email. Now, if I bundle that whole thing into one thing, that becomes a skill, whatever that skill may be, right? So very, very close terminology, but it's a question of how they are used, basically, right? When an LLM is given capability of some tools, of automating to using tools, given the capability of RAG, given capability of grounding, it is what we call an agent. Now, agent itself can break down into two parts. One is an agent which is created by you, which is used this way. The other is an autonomous agent, which is where, if in today's world, you will hear about things like OpenClaw or Hermes agent, where you can pretty much tell the agent that I wanted to do that, and it can write the tools for itself. It can write the skills for itself. You don't need to create the tools. You don't need to create the skills. It can write its own skills. It can actually improve itself just because you're asking it to, kind of thing. So that's going towards autonomous AI agents, which is kind of where we will go towards. I don't know whether we will cover this in this course or not. It will all depend on your capabilities. Some of you may do it, some of you will not do it. Basically, it is a very advanced level course. It requires that you have very good control over everything else before you go towards that. So I will leave it to you. We are definitely working on it, but whether it will be part of this curriculum or whether we will do it during the curriculum will all depend on your pace and your speed. It's the last item we will go to kind of thing, not the first item will go to. You need lot more discipline on the rest of it before you can go there. You need to master all of the things on this slide first before you get to autonomous AI, which is kind of very dangerous in some ways. Uh, so you need to have the rest of the controls in place before you do that. So what is the role of engineers in AI? Now, and this is kind of very important because lot of people today feel that okay, they can get everything done through chat gpt. So why an engineer versus a regular person? Like, what will distinguish you from someone who does not have an engineering degree? Because they can also go to chat gpt and get the same answer. You can go to chat gpt and get the same answer. In fact, I would say that somebody who is not an engineer has a higher likelihood of getting the correct answer from AI than somebody who has an engineering degree, because engineers tend to think very technically, whereas non-engineers tend to think very real world kind of thing, right? So in that sense, they have an advantage. But engineers have one thing that goes for them. Engineers know how to do things in a very structured manner, right? And that's the role for you, right? So for you to distinguish yourself from non-engineering in AI is that you need to figure out how you can leverage the things that you've learned in the 4 years to improve outcome. For example, if I tell AI to develop a software for me, right? Any of you can go to Google AI Studio, Lovable, or the hundreds of other things which are out there to develop that software, right? In fact, not only you, if you have your parents, they can also go, and even if they've never touched a computer, they can also go and develop an app. It actually requires a zero technical skill to develop a front-end application or any kind of application using AI today, right? Like everybody has used some kind of a tool, to vibe coding tool. Everybody has used some vibe coding tool. Who has not used it? Anybody not used a vibe coding tool yet? Who has used a vibe coding tool? Raise of hands, please. Yeah. Yes, Tasneem, what tool have you used?
Lovable, sir.
Okay. Again, lovable Raj, not lovable sir. Okay. Next, who else has used a tool? Ishan, what have you used?
Anti-gravity and cloud code.
Okay. Anti-gravity and cloud code. Vaishnavi.
Cursor and anti-gravity.
Okay. Anshuban.
Sir, again, cursor and anti-gravity.
Gravit.
Lovable, sir.
Okay. Ankit.
Cloud code.
Okay. Rishika.
Lovable and cloud code.
Khyati.
I've used Lovable and Claude.
Okay. Kameshwar, you haven't used anything, and Renuka, you haven't used anything?
Yeah, cloud code.
Cloud. Okay. So guys, if you have not, get used to it. Like in today's world, if you are an engineer and you have not used this tool, I would say that you are outdated by 1.5 years, basically. Okay. Kind of thing. Like these tools that I'm talking to you about are 1.5 years old. And by now, pretty much like we are stopping to use these tools. So we are teaching you this, but we are stopping to use these tools because you don't need to, right? But the point is that anybody can use these tools to develop a product, right? That's kind of the thing, right? So why do you need a 4-year engineering degree to do that? The 4-year engineering degree allows you to build this product in a way that you can maintain it, you can work in a team environment, you can scale it out, you can deploy it in an enterprise environment. That's kind of what you bring to the table. So how do you do that? First of all, when we instruct AI, we are not instructing AI to just build the application. We instruct AI to build the application in a way that we want. We tell it, okay, how do you write code? Like, what is the coding conventions to be used? How do you organize code? Right? How do you, break down code? How do you make it modular? All of those things an engineer will put in there, and that will generate code which the whole team can work with. Because if you take code which is generated by most of these tools, it is very hard to maintain because there are no rules around it. Every tool does it their own way, kind of thing. So it's very important for us to know what is the software engineering process. That's why I said in the first year of school, they taught you, okay, this is the software engineering process. You take a big project down, you break it into smaller chunks, you organize your code into this way, you make it modular. All of those things that you have been taught, you need to make it so that when you instruct AI, whether it's a vibe coding tool or whether it is a other tool, you instruct the AI that way so that it generates codes that way, because you wrote the code. That's the easy part. It will have a bug in the future. It will need to be fixed in the future. It will need to be maintained in the future. How do you do that if you do not understand it? Then AI, as you said, AI can hallucinate. So while AI is working on it, one bit here and there, and it will get distracted and it will do something else. You need to review what AI has generated. So if you remember, one of the things I did for all of you during the interview was gave you the Fibonacci series or the factorial code to review, right? How many of you had that code, basically factorial, Fibonacci? Who had it? Okay, so a lot of you had that code, right? And many of you did it well, many of you struggled with it, right? This is the one skill you really need to get good at, kind of thing. If you want to be getting good at AI, you're not going to be writing any code. In fact, we will write zero code, kind of thing, right? I have not written code in years now, basically, because AI does it, right? However, if you want to build enterprise system, you need to be able to read code properly, right? Which means that you need to tell AI, no, this is not how it needs to be done. This is how it needs to be done. You are doing a lot of extra stuff. It's like before AI came in, and if you guys were interns working for me and I was teaching you, you wrote your first code, I would say, no, this is not how you write code. Basically, you need to write code smaller, more modular. I would be doing the same thing with you as humans, that you have to now do with AI as this thing. So for you, AI is the intern. You need to teach AI, and you teach AI by coming up with the set of instructions that are needed, and those instructions get improved so that you get very predictable with the code it generates. Like, for example, when we tell AI to fix one thing, it will fix one thing. It will not fix anything else. That's the control you want. You want to know that, okay, when you tell AI to do something, it has done that blindly without breaking any rules, kind of thing, and not done anything extra. It has not filled an extra defect. It has not created more features. It has not done anything else. That's the control you need, and you will get that by reviewing it. So one of the key things you will do is that as you're building code, AI will write the code, you will read the code, you will validate that that is correct, and then you will do a review with me or somebody else. If you do not understand the code generated by AI, that code is not going to be acceptable, even if it is working, basically. So we don't care if the code works, right? We care if you understand the code that has been written, kind of thing. That's the more important part. So very heavy focus on the first year fundamentals, kind of thing. One programming language, basic logic, and software engineering skills. Basic logic, because I don't care if you know the syntax for React or not. I don't care if you know the syntax for Python or not. We really are not into syntaxes, right? But I do care whether you can write pseudo code for the logic or not, because when AI is showing you code, there will be code which is just presentation logic, button here, button there. We don't care about that. We are not going to worry about that. But we are going to care about any business logic which is out there. Anything which is out there, which, oh, this is logical. What does this logic do? Why is it there? Is it necessary? Is it not necessary? And that's the mindset an engineer can bring into the problem. A regular person using vibe coding will not think about that. That's kind of why we need engineers in this thing. So if you look at it, you are going to learn what the AI SDLC is. You're going to learn how to optimize with the tools that you talked about, whether it is anti-gravity or kilo code or whatever tools we are going to use. You're going to review code. This is going to be the number one AI work review. This is going to be the most important thing, whether it is coding or whether it is a presentation or whatever it is. You will blindly not accept anything that AI has produced. You will review it. You will own it. That means that if you submit that work, it is not a mistake that AI made. It's a mistake that you made. You cannot tell me that, okay, AI made this mistake. I will not accept it. If you submit the work in front of me, you're telling me this is your work, right? I don't know what tools you use, whether you did it by hand or whether you did by AI. I know this is your work. You understand it. You're going to show me everything. You're going to answer every question. We have a rule in our company that any word you put in front of me, a single line of code, a single word in a document, you are saying that, Raj, drill me on that, then I know that inside out. So that means that you should never put anything in front of me that you do not understand. Now, how does that come into the picture? For example, AI can generate code which is written by somebody with 25 years experience, right? You can write code which you will never understand, kind of thing, right? Or it can write code in very simple language, right? Your choice, right? If you write the one which is done by 25-year experienced person and you present it and I ask you a question and you cannot answer it, it doesn't count, right? So don't try to impress by producing sophisticated code. In fact, try to produce simple code, right? My personal background is very simple. I don't have an engineering degree, so I learned very, very simple coding 25 years back. Okay, the function, basic, programming where you have write functions, you write if then else, for loops, and all of those basic logical structures. Today they do a lot of promises and all of those things. I don't understand it, right? However, when I look at logic, I still look at logic at that 25-year-old, like, oh, this logic is right or wrong. And I can look at it, and that's kind of what I determine. So during your review, you should review AI code review, because I will review your code. Okay, nothing that you do is going to be accepted automatically. And I have seen some people produce code and then they spend 6 weeks trying to fix that code, kind of thing, because we do not accept it for 6 weeks. Also, there is no room for acceptance. You can keep doing it over and over again, but till you explain the code that you produce, you don't move forward. That is the one thing which will slow you down. Anytime you present something that you don't understand, we will send you back to the drawing board to do it all over again, kind of thing, till you present things that you understand, right? So never present something that is beyond your capability, right? If you are using AI's help to produce something, which you should, make sure you understand and then present. Okay, we will not accept anything that you do not understand, right? Your next part of this thing is, how do you teach AI? And this will come if we go to autonomous AI. How do you teach AI? For example, you can teach autonomous AI that, okay, this is how I test, and you tell it to test, basically, right? So teaching by example is one of the things that we do with autonomous AI. We're going to learn on that and how do we improve it. And of course, AI engineers develop different tools and skills for AI. So all of the REST APIs, all of the MCP servers, all of it, that is done by AI. A regular person who doesn't have an engineering degree will have a hard time writing those tools and this thing. So that kind of distinguishes an AI engineer from a non-engineer who uses vibe coding, right? Now, I'm telling you this because there are times when you're going to try to do things which a regular person does, and you have to think about it. Am I doing this as an engineer, or am I doing this as a regular person? And if I'm doing it as a regular person, should I really be doing it, kind of thing? And you want to really become that AI oriented mindset. It's a mindset. Once you develop that mindset, you will never fall off it. Till you have that mindset, you're going to try to take that shortcut of doing it kind of the easy way, kind of thing. Do not take the easy way. Try to take the methodical approach of doing AI. Okay. Challenges. So when we are using AI, so the key challenges is security and privacy. So when we are using models, we are sharing data with it. If you do not know how security and privacy work, you can result in secure confidential data being shared, because AIs do not guarantee that the data will not be used for training and may not pop up somewhere else. So you really need to learn what are the security and privacy capabilities that are available. And in any organization you work, you should ask, how are we protecting data? What are the tools in place? In our case, for example, we use light LLM, we use guardrails to try to protect data. We try to use models which are having right terms and conditions so that they don't use it for training. So a lot of processes which are there, but you need to know that you need to ask about those questions in whatever environment you work on. The second thing is managing cost. You will find out as you start using tools like Google AI Studio. When you use Google AI Studio, it will give you a certain amount of quota every day. It's free, basically, right? However, you could not get your work done because you did not use your quota properly, right? The goal is not to give you a subscription so that you have unlimited quota. The goal is that you have a limited quota. Can you get the work done in there, right? So that means that you really need to get optimized in writing your prompts and this thing. We will give you AI quota where you can use for things, but in the initial stages, you will need to learn how to optimize your query so that you can get it done with what you have available and not pay for extra cost and stuff. even if you can afford it, you should not do it, because the goal is that if you cannot control AI cost, it's going to become like, recently there was a news that one company spent their whole annual budget in 1 month because they did not manage their AI cost properly, kind of thing, right? So learning how to manage AI cost is an essential AI engineer skill. If you are going to seek job in any company, you can tell them, okay, I can use AI efficiently by making sure that I'm not overspending and I'm taking care of security and privacy. You are a different engineer than, I can ask AI and it'll build something, kind of thing. Okay, so very important kind of thing. The scalability and reliability. So how do you scale up what you have built to hundreds of users, millions of users? So we will be, in our organization, we'll be focusing on building applications which have many users, right? Our goal is to build a product which is going to satisfy the need of 100,000 consumers and lot of enterprise customers. So we will not be working on very small applications. We will pretty much be working on only enterprise applications. And so we want you to think about that question everywhere, that this works for me but doesn't work for 100 people, doesn't work for 1,000 people, doesn't work for million people. How do I scale this up, right? So that's the important part about scalability and reliability of AI. LLMs are slow, so it is going to be requiring approaches to figure out how we can scale it up and manage it efficiently, right? The other part, which most people, this was true even before AI, that most people take a job as a 9 to 5. You go in, you work on a job, you go home. You really don't care about what actually is happening, right? With AI, the world is changing. The world is going to care more about what did we achieve, right? So I don't care whether you work 8 hours a day or 2 hours a day. What I care is that what did you get done, right? How much did it cost, right? Did it add value? What value did it add? So all of you are going to learn about what is the impact that your work is adding. And that is important, because one of the things we tell our employees is that your salary or the money we pay you is dependent on the impact that you have. So that means that if one of you, for example, creates a product, right, as part of your training program, and we have a customer who uses the product and pays us for it, our goal is to take that money and give it to you, right? We are not trying to say that, okay, we will make the money and become rich. Basically, we want it so that you created the impact, you get rewarded for it. That's our goal, right? The question is that, but do you really understand the impact? Basically, many times you will work on things, oh, I'm working, right? And it doesn't count. You're not getting rewarded. You need to figure out how you can have impact. What is the output you're affecting? Oh, I am building this thing. This will save 15 minutes for this person. 20 people are using it, so we saved this much time, right? One of the use cases we had was, we have this tool called Resume Builder. Atharv and Anubha build those tools, basically, right? This company, E-Team, which is our client, they have recruiters who call people, and as part of that, they are taking a resume, converting it into a format that the client needs, and sending it to the client, right? That used to take them 20 minutes or so for each resume, kind of thing, and they had 250 recruiters, right? So even if you assume that one resume per day per recruiter is 250 recruiters into one resume into 20 minutes, that's the amount of time we are spending, right? But now they go to an AI tool where they upload the resume, they select the client, and they get a resume which is written in the way the client requires it, and we send it out. So they are saving 15 minutes of time, manual effort on that kind of thing, right? And that is real money saved, right? So the outcome is improved. So at Humanize IQ, we are heavily focused on outcomes. And even if you become an employee of our company, you will not get paid based on your tenure, based on your experience, based on whatever. You will get paid on the outcome that you produce. Basically, everybody has a base salary. Even I have a base salary, but we all get paid based on the outcome we have, how we improve the world, how we improve people's productivity, kind of thing. So very important to think about everything that you're doing and how it is helping you improve the outcome and productivity, kind of thing. And so measuring ROI is very important. I'm telling you all of these things because almost all of these things, most people learn 3 years or 4 years into your careers. They do not teach you this to freshers in out of college, basically, right? as I said in the beginning in the other presentation, that I'm trying to get you ready for a job that requires somebody with 1 year experience. That means that these are things that you don't have to wait to learn. If you learn it now, they will give you an ROI in your career today, kind of thing. Okay, and it will change if you start thinking from that day right now. Then you will have that mindset as you grow up. The last thing, mental health. I put this in there because we don't realize what the effect of AI is on mental health. And I will give you a very simple example. If you ask AI a question and AI gives you an answer, right? You actually feel happy. You feel very happy that it gave you the answer you want. Wow, it gave me the answer, I'm done, kind of thing, right? What you don't realize is that slowly over time, your mind gets used to getting that answer and your brain stops developing, because the human brain requires effort in learning and creating new connections. However, the moment you get that instant gratification thing, your brain actually slows down, right? So unknowingly, people of today's generation who are becoming dependent on chat GPT are hurting their mental health without realizing it. In fact, you will find out, and it's true for us also. Like in our generation, when I was growing up, you could ask me about anybody's phone number and I could just tell you the phone number of any person from the top of my head, basically without looking at anything. And today, even if you ask me my phone number, I would have to look up my iPhone. Okay, what is my phone number? And I would not remember it, kind of thing, right? So our brain get used to not doing those things. And with AI, because AI is good at answering the question, we lose the ability of asking questions back or questioning what the AI said, and our brain becomes worse and worse, basically. So in the long term, there could be negative mental health effects on you by using AI. And so we need to be prepared for that. All of you are just coming out of school or in school, and at this stage of time, the problem is that during COVID, a lot of people started using these tools and becoming dependent on it. But if you become too dependent on it, you may not realize when it harms you enough, kind of thing. So it's very important that you use AI safely and make sure that your mental growth, your other growth is not affected by using AI, and you use AI as a tool and not AI as an addiction or a dependency, kind of thing. It's one of the real risks which nobody talks about. I'm talking about it because I am seeing this happen with people, and pretty much I don't know how these people will survive who have become so dependent on AI that they can't even question what AI tells them, kind of thing. I have people who will simply take a problem, go to AI will tell them do this, do this, do this, and they will present it to me without knowing what, why, kind of thing. And you will become that if you do not take care of it. So please, this is kind of my urge to you. Do not use AI to get answers ever. Do not ask AI for any answers. Ask AI to teach you how to find an answer, right? That's where AI will add as a tool instead of just as a something that is a quick solution to your problems, kind of thing. Okay. Uh, Professional growth in the AI world. Like I said, the world of AI in before AI, people used to get paid because of tenure. People used to get paid because they're in office. People used to get paid for a lot of things. However, the world is changing. A lot of organizations are getting focused that, okay, we need to change the outcome. In fact, AI is actually making it happen. The real purpose of IT, which was to improve human life, improve outcomes. So AI forces us to focus on the results and impact. What is the difference between result and impact? Okay, I build this product. That's a result, right? And impact is my product is helping 1,000 people save 15 hours a day. Okay, that's the impact, right? So everything that you do while you are part of our program, I want you to think about result. Like if you're doing something, what is the result and what is the impact? If there is no result and no impact, then why do it, right? So very important, and you need to learn how to question this, because that will help you determine your growth in your career, right? Focus on efficiency. Now, previously projects they used to do waterfall years project, then they went to agile, couple of weeks and couple of releases. However, with the AI, the agile cycle is 1 day. So the thing is that as an AI engineer, if you cannot take an idea from thought to production in one day, right? You pretty much are not using AI effectively, because you will be outdated by the time you do it. If you take 3 months to do something, somebody will steal your idea and get it done in a day, kind of thing, right? Doesn't mean that the whole enterprise can be built in a day. It means that you are taking small pieces into production, demonstrating that it's out there, trying to monetize it right away, kind of thing, instead of waiting for it to complete. And it's a mindset kind of thing. So reducing the time to market and reducing the effort, how much time you spent on doing something. For example, I think almost any one of you who is using anti-gravity or cursor or whatever you guys said, this is kind of my guess how you use it. You go in there, you tell it a prompt, and it starts working on it, and you're watching the screen go by basically with the text being written fast, kind of thing, right? Like that's kind of how most of you are using this thing, right? Do you know how I use it? If I tell AI to do something, I first of all tell it, when you're done, ring a bell. I give it instruction. I go to kitchen. I start cooking. Okay. When the bell rings, I will come back, or I'm doing something else, right? Your goal is not to watch AI do its work. Your goal is to review the work done by AI, right? And figure out how you can utilize your time. If all you're going to do is ask AI to do the work and watch AI do 15 minutes of screen scrolling, what's the time saving? How did you benefit from it? What is the effort saved, basically? You need to figure out, okay, AI is doing something, so I am doing something. However, once the AI is done, I will review the work. That's kind of the key thing, kind of thing. That's the mindset you need to get developed. So effort needs to go down. Human effort needs to go down. A lot of people tell me that they don't have time. Do you know why they don't have time? Because they use AI and then they watch AI do the work, right? You're wasting time, right? Instead, let AI do its work, do your thing. You will have a lot more time, right? And that's kind of what effort is. The third is focus on people, and this is kind of our uh, core mission as well. This thing that as a company we want to have impact on society. The reason we are bringing interns in, like, think about it, most companies are hiring experienced people. Most companies are actually focusing on experienced people. We hire very few experienced people. We only want to focus on students. Why? Because we feel that you need some help in being successful in the current world, right? And we hope that we can help you succeed, right? So I want to invest in that kind of thing, and we want to have a social impact. We want to make sure that AI is accessible for everyone, whether they can afford it. Like, we have a very simple policy. We will charge people who can pay for AI, but we will make AI available to anyone who cannot afford AI, kind of thing, right? And that's kind of the real purpose of actually technology, innovation, and all of this thing, to have an impact on society. So that's kind of how, if you embrace these features, you become a full-fledged AI engineer who can grow by demonstrating those values of outcomes, efficiency, and social impact, kind of thing, right? And that's an important aspect of AI. Most people think of AI as a technology. I don't think of AI as a technology. I think of AI as an enabler. It enables us to make a difference in the world. We just don't have to think about writing code or doing our thing. We think about how we can impact the world around us, kind of thing, how we can make life for people in our families, in our friend circle, in our overall society better. And that's kind of what will determine your growth, your position in an AI world. If you think of AI as a technology, most of you will be, soon realize that, okay, there is nothing to be done in AI as a technology, because AI will take care of the technology itself, kind of thing, right? Again, feedback for this session is expected on this form. Please do submit a feedback for this session. I will now take questions on this presentation. Raise your hands on any questions that you may have around this before we take a break and do the next session, kind of thing. Questions? Nobody has questions? I can ask questions. Somebody has to ask question. Either I ask question or you ask questions. So, okay, you want me to ask questions? Okay, let's see. Let's me ask question. Okay, can somebody tell me what is an LLM? Yes, Ishan, go ahead.
Well, An LLM is a large language model which is able to predict whatever word is going to come next based on the data that it has been fed. So it kind of mimics how natural language works.
Okay. What is grounding? Yes, Kameshwar.
Making sure that the responses given by the LLM are true and they have a reference to, so like for us to look at, there is a valid resource, a web page or a document or something that the LLM has taken for a reference and generated the output
Okay.
instead of hallucinating. Yeah.
Okay. Then what is the role of AI engineer in the world of, in today's world? Do AI engineers have a role? Yes, Ishan.
To being able to use AI efficiently and ensuring that quality work is delivered within less time.
Why do you need an engineering degree for that?
Well, because through an engineering degree, we kind of understand how exactly is the model giving us the answer that we need.
Do you really?
So instead of focusing on what it's giving, we focus on why it's
Okay.
giving the answer and how we can use it for our.
Yes, Vaishnavi.
To generate the AI implemented code in structure wise, that's why we need the AI engineers.
Okay. What else? Yes, Renuka.
We apply SDLC, that is software development life cycle, where we'll be focusing more on technical aspects as an AI engineer.
Why? Why do we need to do that?
Because we can once we build the product, we can again further review it and monitor and scale it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Good. Go ahead, Renuka. Okay, cool. So that's kind of AI introduction to AI kind of thing. Hopefully, we'll go into more details as we go through the program. Any questions before we go to the next session for today, kind of thing?